Welcome back to King and Pawn and Game series. This is the first chapter where you're learning key position. Yes, you're learning what is key position. So in this position, this is called a key position. So when it could be black king or a white king, doesn't matter. Here, when the white king is in the 6th rank and opponent's king is the 8th rank, and I have a pawn beside me, and opponent is taking opposition. What is opposition? For beginners who don't know what is opposition, when kings are facing each other, this is called opposition. So what happens in opposition is this white king or the black king, both are prevented not to move front. Nor the white king can move, nor the black king can move. Doesn't matter whose turn it is, no one can move to those three squares. So this is called direct opposition or a vertical opposition. Direct vertical opposition. So in this position, so this is advantageous for the person who played the last move. So something like if black played this last move, white has to decide where he has to move because he has to move back. He doesn't have any move front. So if white played this last move, last opposition move, then black has to decide whether he has to. Now there is no 9th rank to go back. Yes. So he has to go step aside, C8 or E8. So that is the power of opposition. You could choose when you play opposition move, when he has to, like now this is white's turn, white has to go back or choose to sidestep anywhere. Now black could choose him to go the other way or follow him. Now in this position we can't come to D7, it's illegal move. So we have to play our king to E7 or E8. We wanted to learn about key position. In this position, if it is white's turn, it is draw. If it is white's turn, it's a draw. If it is black's turn, it is winning for white. We'll see how. So in this position, if white has a pawn, if he tries to push the pawn, so king will go to E8, and either we have to choose to go to E6 to protect the pawn, or you have to come back and give up the pawn. So going to E6 would be a stalemate. We already learned what is stalemate. So stalemate is a position where it's your opponent's turn and opponent doesn't have any move, any king move or any pieces move, or he doesn't have kings. So this is a position. This is a stalemate. So either after pawn push, you go back and give up the pawn, and where it is a draw with insufficient material. And if you try to move back your king, okay, maybe you may be wondering, you could just move your king back and try to win the game. But that doesn't help. Why? Because the one way to win for white is to promote the pawn. Opponent will stay, block the pawn, not let the pawn move front. If you just hang around, you just stay around, not to move anywhere. And whenever you sidestep to this side, and he will take the opposition again. I told you the importance of opposition. So after taking the opposition, I told you who played the last move has the advantage. Whether now white has to decide he has to move back or sidestep, it doesn't matter. Now again, this is a key position reached. It doesn't matter where is the king, it could be anywhere. I told you that the pawn should be side by side and king should be taking opposition. This is called key position. It could be as well vice versa as for black. Black could have king here and white king is here and black has a pawn over here. So it could be anywhere. It can't be here, this direction, because pawn doesn't move there. So in this position, if we try to push the pawn again, we just look at that stalemate or insufficient, it would be draw. Or again, that doesn't help if you move back anywhere because your opponent will just stay near the pawn, and that's a draw. So you learn what will be the result if it is white's turn. I told you that in a key position, if it is white's turn, it is your turn who has the pawn. It's a draw. You could try to trick your opponent, but most likely it will be a draw with the correct play. And let's see what happens if it is black's turn. Why if it is black's turn it's winning? Okay, so this is a position where this is black's turn, it is not white's turn now. What happens is, so this is the power of a opposition. Now here black has to decide where he has to play. White played the last move, now black has to decide where he has to go. Either he has to go to C8 or E8. If he goes to C8, it's just lost at the spot because I can just promote the pawn and I win the game. Queen or the rook and I win the game. So if he tries to come to E8 now, is already in the square where the pawn doesn't attack. So, so king is in a position where it can't come back here, he has to get out. Now in this position we get in and we make sure that our pawn promotes and we win the game. Yeah, we don't have to promote to a bishop or a knight, we promote to a queen or a and we win the game. How to checkmate with one queen? If you didn't watch the one queen checkmate, you have to watch it, and otherwise you will not able to win the game from here after learning king and pawn endgame. I hope you learned king and pawn endgame key position. So in the next one there will be different position and a very short video as I already told in the introduction part. I will see you in the next video.